Rare occasion I'm reacting to Asmongold, but, well, here we are. We're gonna have a little deep dive into what's going on Blue Sky. Basically, that's what we're gonna see. That's what we're gonna see. These people are effing evil by Asmongold. We'll look at this. We'll look what's been going on Blue Sky. We know what this is about, obviously, about what recently happened. I just want to show what these people are actually like, right? Just gonna show it with this one.
Hi guys, it's me again, and today we're going to look at some of the interesting users on, you would never believe it, Blue Sky. That's right. And I don't know how this keeps happening, but yesterday, after Charlie Kirk was brutally murdered, he was shot in the throat, bled out on stage in front of everybody, including his own family and his children. The number of people in the games industry who decided to go on to social media, particularly Blue Sky, a lot of the—
That's the thing, right? These people are celebrating, right? These people are celebrating. The funny part is, you got to think that through. The funny part is that they're what's the word? They're essentially straight up out in the open, either with their face, with their full name, or and where they work, and well, we had people reporting them to their employers, and they've been getting fired. Plenty of people getting fired.
These people, you have to understand that many of these people have already been run off of Twitter.
Yep, and they're now back to Blue. Now they're on Blue Sky. It cannot be Charlotte. It cannot. Charlotte is defending trans people. Tourists would never defend trans people. This does not make sense. Use your head.
Because there's a level of discourse and negativity that they can't really deal with. So the only place that they can really exist is on effectively a reservation like Blue Sky, where their opinions are protected and they're allowed to be vitriolic and nobody's allowed to tell them that they're wrong. Well, that's why we're making this video. We're going to be looking at some of the different people that, after the death of Charlie Kirk, decided to, and I'm not really going to be going through, everybody is going to draw the line at a different place. Here's where I draw the line. I personally have a big problem with people that are celebrating him being killed. I don't have a big deal if somebody...
True. I don't care if you say, that, like, you don't care. That's fine. You don't have to care. That's fine. Nobody cares that you don't care. I do have a problem if you celebrate. It does also have a bit of a, like, it does have a bit of a bad aftertaste. You say, like, yeah, it was a bad person, I don't care. It does have a bit of bad aftertaste, but I agree, it's not a big deal, like, okay.
He says, I don't like him, or I never liked him, or something like that. But for the people that are celebrating for him being killed, advocating for future violence, and saying that it's a good thing, I think that's what crosses the line for me, and I think that's what crosses the line for any reasonable, normal person. And so anyway, we're going to go through a number of people, and the first thing I wanted to start out with today is that maybe you guys remember this from the beginning of the year. It was a big content year, I would say that, and people might have forgotten, but there is a person who decided to advocate for killing your local MAGA. This was a Blizzard employee, and I want to say that after the video that I made on him and a lot of other people made on him, this person lost their job and effectively has ruined their life. And I...
Good. I've also seen plenty of Microsoft employees getting fired. Good. Perfect, good, very good. By the way, Poke, you see another big platform to the platform Hassan, the same guy who disproved hacking at Islamic background. I think you probably mean Metatron, I think? Is that the guy?
Want nothing more than for the exact same thing to happen to the people in this video too. So I hope that after you guys see these individuals and you see what they're advocating for, you'll be able to go out and tell their employer, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm not comfortable funding a video game that is employing people that are advocating for the brutal murder of a person in front of their family. And it's absolutely insane, but it's also not surprising. And so anyway, we're going to go through some of these. Obviously, you know, I put out a post about this before. This was yesterday, if you guys want to make a list, and this is something I'll go ahead and just contextualize it all. So there's several game developers that are liking posts that are people mocking Charlie Kirk's assassination. We'll look at pretty much who these people are. We'll start off with this. These are people, Dennis. Let's look at this, and this is also on Blue Sky. I'm 6'5" and Vans, Blue Sky Social, sound effects associate at Bungie. So Bungie, you know the game that's trying to make Marathon, I guess they were too busy. Well, he's doing sound effects, not visual effects, so maybe he actually has to do his job rather than just copy-pasting something off of Twitter. But anyway, you've got somebody like this who's advocating for, and again, people might think that it's not a big deal. Oh, well, these people aren't making these statements themselves. These people aren't really saying anything that is that extreme. Here's the reason why it's a big problem. The reason why is because it creates an ecosystem and an environment where the actual extremism...
It's what's the word? It's reinforcing the idea for actual extremists, for people that would actually be violent, that this is okay. And that's why it is a problem. It is giving the impression, that, what's the word? That this is okay, that they can do this and get away with it, right? Because, like, the people want it, right? That's the problem.
And the actual radical behavior is feeling comfortable. It feels comfortable in an environment where you have this blasé, passive acceptance of it, and you have people that are just basically complicit with it, but they're not openly saying it. They're just privately doing it, or they're just privately voicing their support as well. And, well, I guess in this case, it's not private anymore, is it? And so anyway, we have a associate producer at Bungie who is liking and promoting tweets that are celebrating.
By the way, even in your own country, if you see posts like this celebrating, look at your law. Look at your law. Here in Germany, by the way, you can report people to their employers. You can report people to their colleges, universities. That is possible. Because this is, in fact, a crime here. This is, in fact... It didn't happen in Germany, but it is, in fact, even the crime here. If you celebrate Charlie Kirk's death here in Germany, you are committing, depending on your wording, a crime. The more you know.
The death of a person being shot in the neck in front of their family and bleeding out profusely on the stage in front of millions of people. And so good job, Bungie. Really good winners you've got here. I can't wait to play Marathon. I thought that my expectations for the game couldn't be lower, but somehow Dennis has managed to fulfill...
Here's also something. I don't advise you to see the video, the close-up of what happened. But if you are in the US and you are questioning on which side you are, watch the video. I watched it too. Changed me completely. That changed something, I don't know. But watching the close-up shot of what happened changed me. Not gonna lie, it's something cracked in this moment.
Or exceed those expectations, you could say. I've got another one also. Kelly, senior producer at Sucker Punch, amateur cosplay armor, D&D enjoyer, source of course.
I've also seen plenty of book talk creators, not authors, right? Like just like people who cover books, right? And like read books, tear apart and rip apart their books. Stephen King was let go from like bookstore, book convention, whatever it was, but they're not selling his books anymore, whatever it was. They don't want him there because at least he had the guts, in quote marks, to correct his lies and false statements. So that's a good thing.
Corgi picks they and she. Okay, so we have also, and you're going to see this word, this term, sucker punch, a number of times. We're not talking about the action, but we are talking about.
Isn't Sucker Punch the team that made Ghost of Tsushima and then Ghost of Yotei? By the way, I will not be buying that game. Looking at how horrible the people are that are developing this game and making this game, nope. It's like crazy, right? Ghost of Tsushima was so good, and then it was flooded by these rats, by the way. It is just crazy. It is just horrendous.
The company. This is the company that makes the game, or that is making the game Ghosts of Yotai. Ghosts of Yotai, and this is also important to keep in mind, is that the voice actress for the game, for the character itself, has gone multiple times on record making the most deranged, stupid comments like defunding the police. She's just your typical, like, libtard, insaniac, moron, retard, right? It's not really that complicated. But what it really indicates is that there's a culture in this company, and there's a culture in this environment where this type of radical, violent behavior and language is normalized. You have multiple people at the company that are all saying these things, and we're going to get to the other ones too. This is another person here also that works at the company, and so you can see right here, obviously this is them retweeting or posting something that they did with the game, and then right after that, I hope the shooter's name is Mario so that Luigi knows his bro got his back. And I bet.
What the fuck are we doing? This is actually double. This is a support of two murders, essentially, right? This is support of two people being deleted, right? Unjustly, but what, right? So it's even worse. It's even worse. Also, I'm gonna say these fuckers who say they will punch Nazis, they will punch right-wingers, they will punch anybody. I have noticed a pattern. These privileged little shits have never experienced violence in any way, shape, or form, ever. They say they want to be violent, but they never have experienced violence because these people don't go into, like, they don't confront people. They don't go in front of a group and yap. They don't go in front and do speeches and debates. They don't do that. They just sit isolated on their little accounts and tweeting their fingers off. These people have never touched a person, ever. And they never will, because they're all cowards. Always have been. You know what's crazy? They want to cancel Chris Pratt for a singular tweet in support of Charlie Kirk. A singular tweet. They want to cancel Chris Pratt. It makes no sense. None of this makes sense. These people are deranged as fuck.
I noticed that Twitter has noticed me from the... I've been told that Twitter has noticed me from across the room. Well, we certainly have. We absolutely have. And I think that these kinds of comments are absolutely disgusting. This is a person that works at a massive game.
You can tell if somebody's a red flag when looking at their bio. I find it funny. Their friendship defeats fascism. But taking somebody's life for their different opinions and different views. Not a politician. Nobody who technically holds really any power. Who just debated and deleted him. I think that's the... Metatron put it quite perfectly on Twitter. He's Italian. And he straight up said, yes, these fuckers are in fact fascists. And he's right. These people are the definition of that. Again, not saying that everybody who has pronouns in their bio is evil, but from now on, this is always a red flag. It is always a red flag. I will always give people the side eye if they have pronouns in there. Until I know them better. Straight up, I don't care. At this point, there is no guarantee which of these isn't a deranged psycho who wants you dead.
Company, and they're openly advocating for on public platforms and promoting and celebrating the murder of a random person. This is disgusting. It's really disgusting. And in my opinion, I don't think that it should be tolerated. And that's the reason why I'm making this video. I think that everybody should try to message anybody that works at this company, anybody who, you know, like any sort of PR, any management, you know, anything like that. Let them know that...
It shouldn't be tolerated. It shouldn't be. And people were like, oh yeah, this behavior is infringing on my First Amendment. The First Amendment protects you from the government. It does not protect you from the average person in the United States. I've heard from people from like Bulgaria be like, yo, I'm gonna look at these people. I'm gonna call companies outside of Bulgaria where they work at and report their disgusting behavior to their employers. It is hilarious. It is funny as hell. It is so funny. It's like, this has annihilated more division between, the right. Like, you see people interact that you would have never expected to interact or work together with. Like, I've seen Nick Fuentes and Asmongold interact on Twitter, no matter what you now think of Nick Fuentes or Asmongold. But I've never seen something like that. That would have not happened if not for these circumstances. Kirsche, you know, like Matt Walsh says like anime is demonic. I'm gonna say this. This is a retarded take, by the way. Straight up. But Kirsche sending Matt Walsh stuff about Bridge. You would just never see this.
You don't want to support a company that employs people that celebrate the murder of innocent people just for exchanging ideas. This is a disgusting, disgusting thing to do. And you can see also that
it's also disgusting that they take all his quotes and everything he said out of context. Like, everything he said, they pull it out of context. The problem is that people don't hate Kirk because of what he said, but people hate Kirk because they heard what other people said about him. They don't look at the full quotes. They don't look at the full thing. They don't look at anything. They don't look at full clips, full debates, nothing. They don't look at stuff. They genuinely don't look at stuff. It's crazy. And then when you show them and then when you show them the full quotes or the full clips of what he said, they then continue to live in denial. What do you do with that? What do you do with that? You can't do anything.
I think this is a systemic problem at the company itself. Whenever you have three people, the voice actress and then these two other people that are also doing this, I think that it's very obvious that this company has been infected with the same kind of moral rot that many other video game companies have unfortunately been affected by. And so you have also...
Hot take. Incredible hot take. Game developers, people that should work at games, people that work at any creative projects, music, whatever. Okay, music maybe not. But like companies, okay? Let's stick for companies for now. Companies should be completely apolitical. Straight up. Have one word, what you can do with people like that, and that word is lobotomy. Bring back lobotomies. Lobotomies matter. It is just wild. It is just wild.
Zibs, they, them, always a very good...
You also have to consider this. This is on main. These people are not going to any, like, old accounts or anything. This is on main. This is on the main account. They literally have in their bios who they're working for. Sometimes they even have their actual name. Some have their actual name in there. There's people with a full-on fucking name out there and where they work, and they're posting this shit. They're posting their disgusting comments, not knowing that they could get in trouble for them. It is hilarious. And you know why that is? Because we have created a culture where saying abhorrent shit for this side, right? For these type of people, where it is normalized, and now they're realizing, oh shit, I can't be saying these things. This has consequences. And now, okay, you might be arguing, wait, this is cancel culture. You're doing what you say you're against. You are the one saying that freedom of speech, but not freedom of consequences. So when you do it, it's okay. But when the other side does it, now it becomes a problem. Sounds hypocritical. Rules for thee, but not for me.
Indicator of mental awareness and normality. A producer at Magic the Gathering. So this person works at, I'm assuming, Wizards of the Coast. And they're working at Magic the Gathering Arena. Previously also at... Wow, what are the what are the odds of that? What a coincidence. And so what you've got here, this is, again, another person who is celebrating this type of violent behavior. And I think that, again, people need to make their voices known and make them heard that this is just simply not acceptable. This is not normal. This is not what average people want. We don't want to have people that are openly making statements and calls to violence.
Tell that to Hassan. Tectone provided a full compilation of Hassan just saying that you should just annihilate people. Straight up slice him and dice him. In that exact word. It is just, and he can stay on Twitch. He just can stay on Twitch. If I said similar things to anybody else, I would get banned immediately. That's the crazy shit. We are tolerating this, and that's the problem. But no more. Nuh-uh. I'm so curious what's gonna happen next week to the college students that I reported here in Germany about the report. I know the secretary quite well because she's young. I've had like few talks with her. So we have a deal that she's gonna report to me what is going to happen to these. So that's going to be interesting.
Violence like this, or celebrating calls to violence, or actual violence like this, making our products. It's disgusting. And I know that some people would maybe consider and say, well, this is something that could be a little bit like cancel culture. And I want to say that it absolutely is. 100% is. The fact is that these are the same types of people who would lie about you and make up things about you and try to destroy your career.
Yeah, they're absolutely lying, right? You see it all over. Again, they're still lying. They created a whole narrative where the dude who assassinated him was like a right-winger. That's, by the way, not true. They were photoshopping Trump t-shirts onto him. Or you have to understand how evil they are. These type of people, right? How evil they are to change the narrative. They took another man's right? They took from another man who with the same name. That guy is in fact the Trump supporter, right? But is a different person. Same name, different person. And they were pushing this. Not only are they willing to take others out for the words they say, they're also willing to put another innocent man in danger who had nothing to do with it, just to push the narrative. That's how evil these people are. And again, I'm gonna say this is not all leftists. This is technically not even what the normal leftist should be like. Because back in the day, we weren't that divisive. We weren't that separate. 20 years ago, in its core, we wanted the same, but just different methods of achieving it. At least in a lot of places around the world. Now that's not the case. It's just insane. It is just insane.
Career and destroy your reputation for disagreeing with them on something political, but now whenever it's happening to them, they're the victims. Well, if you want to be the victim, it's time to earn it. I think also, here's another thing, is that if you work at one of these companies and you have one of these individuals that works at your company, you do have a recourse to this, and that's calling and talking to.
Yeah, also, I feel like, okay, I'm gonna say this, I would feel, if like I was working with these people, right? And I would have a different opinion, right, than them. I would feel unsafe working for these people. No, I would feel unsafe working for these people. Because what if they find out that I don't share their opinions? I would never feel safe around these people. Because you never know, one day they might just pull up and take me out. Right? I would never feel safe with these people. In Germany, the term pseudo-leftist has become, by the way, really big nowadays by used by other leftists, which is really interesting.
HR, because the fact is that HR does not operate in your best interest, and it doesn't operate in their best interest either. It operates in the best interest of the company. And when you have people that are making public statements and calls to violence and celebrating violence like that, they're creating a hostile and an unsafe work environment. And anybody who works in HR or anybody who works inside of any sort of corporate environment will tell you that that's something that just can't exist in a corporate environment. There's a reason why we have levels of decorum, and there are some levels of HR that make sense. And so if you work at one of these companies and you have a person like this doing it, make sure to talk to HR and let them know how uncomfortable you feel that there's a person who's working at your company who might want want to advocate to have you killed because you disagree with them. Tell them that it makes you afraid to come into work. Tell them that, you know, you don't know, maybe you're going to file a lawsuit. You feel unsafe at your workplace. And honestly, here's the important thing. You should feel unsafe, because these people would justify violence against anybody who disagrees with them. And just because you think
there's a solid chance that actually, no, there's not just a solid chance. With people like this, with people like these, right? Coexistence is essentially impossible. Coexistence is impossible. That's just the truth. You cannot coexist with these people. Straight up. There's no denial. Focusing on the past and not now. I think people know what they want. They're just given how a narrative take them fighting for what they told is righteous. Obviously, but what I meant more so is that 20 years ago, more people were were either center left or center right. Now there's just two categories. Even though, yeah, that shouldn't be the case. That is not a healthy development. It just isn't. Like, you have to consider this, right? Our right-wing party here in Germany had great ideas, and they were rejected simply because they were from the right-wing party, right? They wanted to give people just got fresh into like apprenticeships, right? 1,000 euros to like for like getting closer to getting their driver's license. That was rejected, by the way. That was rejected. Simply because it comes from the right-wing party. Or more and more wells with drinkable water. That was also rejected in summer, right? For like older people, or like when somebody desperately needs water to like reduce the deaths that happen because of heat, right? That was also rejected. Simply because of the fact that it came from the right-wing party, which is insane, because these are genuinely good. You know the term we not negotiate with terrorists. I guess you know why it's been said. I mean, at that point, you could consider people like that certainly terrorists, yes.
You know them doesn't mean they wouldn't do the exact same thing to you. And this is them. This is the game that they're making right here. And you can see that they've made no statement about this. Now, let me ask you a very simple question. If these people made a degrading comment towards the trans community, for example, or towards the black community, for example, do you think Sucker Punch would have immediately fired them and made a statement?
They would have immediately fired them. Fired them, made a statement. Immediately. Immediately. No doubt about it. Immediately. They would have fired them immediately. Huh. We don't need to... That's a rhetorical question. They would have sent them into the Shadow Realm.
I think so, absolutely. But for some reason, these people are protected. And the reason why they're protected is because there's a lot of other ones at the company that feel the exact same way that they do. That's the only logical reason that I have. And I think that at a certain point, Sony or somebody needs to step in. Whoever owns this company needs to step in and root out this disease before it kills the entire company.
The problem is that ever since Sony... Where did they go? I forgot. But basically, ever since Sony operates more in the US, it just got worse. So that's not gonna happen. Sony Japan still exists, but I feel like it doesn't have as much power as it once had. Shadowrun is exactly their home. Yeah, sure.
Because I do think that it will have a tremendously negative effect on the game. And you can see this right here. This is a post that Sony made. I guess it was a couple of days ago about Ghosts of Yotai, and you can see 1,000 comments on this. Your senior dev at Sucker Punch is a violent leftist, etc. And these are more comments here. Never let up the pressure. Never, ever, ever do that. Keep this pressure up until these people lose their jobs. And then after they lose their jobs, then take a break, relax, pat yourself on the back, wait for them to get another one, and then do it again. And that's the only way that you should treat these animals. And that's exactly what they are. You shouldn't view them as people. You shouldn't...
Which is like crazy, right? I just noticed that even if these people get fired, or like they lose their job, they fail upwards. These people fail upwards. I don't know how it's possible that you can fail upwards, but they are able to do so. I recently realized that when I looked at all the DC shows, right? The Flash, Arrow, so far and so on, these fuckers fail upwards when they belong to this disgusting group of people, right? They fail upwards.
View them as a person with a political disagreement from you. These are violent animals that are trying to destroy the last good thing that we have, which is the open ideas of political discourse. And they're celebrating murdering people for doing it. And as soon as that starts happening, I don't want to know what's next. And the worst thing is that I already do. And I think you do too. And so anyway, we've got more of these here. His resignation is not enough for me. I hope he tanks the studio. And cowards keep quiet. The studio deserves to go under. I understand why a lot of people at these companies don't speak up, which is why I suggest that if you work at one of these companies, please make sure to go to HR. Go to HR and file these complaints legitimately with them. There are certain legal things that they have to do, and in some cases, these people will pretty much lose their job for sure if enough people are discussing it. And you have also some people make comments like this. It's wild how the woke right, like Asmongold, Grums and others, showing themselves to be what they hate.
The woke right, I can't do this anymore. Something weird I've seen, by the way. Would you say that a man dating a trans woman is heterosexual? I'd argue not. Somebody will say yes. I'd argue not. Because heterosexual only works between male and female. Biologically, by the way. Just like lesbians are biologically female. And gay men are biologically male. But I've seen that. I've seen somebody argue that that is a pair, biological men dating is straight, and I'm like, bro, what is going on? When did sexuality now become had something to do with how you identify? This world is lost. We are cooked. Not only are these fuckers essentially dismantling basically heterosexuality, they're also dismantling the entirety of the LGBTQ community. Well, mainly just LG. Bisexuals are like the white people of LGBTQ. Let's not deny that. People call them gay people in denial. At that point, we're cooked. There is no community. These people this is just a amalgamation of people that hate each other. Just a thought I had.
Hate authoritarian freaks that want to censor and silence anybody they despise. Yeah, I do. I do. I think that anybody who's advocating for killing people over speech like this should be censored. Absolutely. And this is just normal. Absolutely. I don't. There's this trick that a lot of people like this like to play, which is they try to use your own language and use your own morality against you. These people don't care about freedom of speech. They don't care about censorship. They don't care about any of that. They're simply trying to weaponize your values and use them against you in order for them to fulfill their own goals. And so every time that they try to make an appeal to your own values...
No, they care about freedom of speech if it aligns with theirs. That is the problem. They do care, but only if it aligns with theirs.
You should ask yourself, do they hold these values? And if the answer is no, then you shouldn't take it seriously. Because this person is simply trying to use your values to subvert you and take advantage of you and to push their own agenda and to hurt you. And so never listen to this, never play into this game, never even acknowledge that that there's any validity to it at all. These people don't care about freedom of speech. The only time they bring it up is whenever they're trying to co-opt the person who does care about freedom of speech and make that person act against their own best interest. But anyway, we've got also, this is me, as well as put out the call for finding game devs mocking, and there's another one here. This is the voice actor for Diluc in Genshin Impact.
No more. He is no longer the voice actor for Diluc. That is no longer a thing. He has once been, but he's no longer. He's no longer the voice actor. But I'm pretty sure he is still for Subaru.
So I hope they receive the same care that the average American citizen would get in the same situation. Really? So they're just gonna fall down and die. Somebody gets shot in the neck like that with their blood like spurting out. There's no health care. You're not coming back from that. At least not anytime soon with the medical care that we have now. And so anyway, at least he came out. At least he goes out doing what he loved, being a bigot. Yeah, of course you have more comments like this, more people like this. And if shoot blue sky if it's permanent, every post you make goes out to the public firehouse, captured by someone somewhere. The delete button doesn't do what you think it does. And so anyway, we have a lot of people, obviously, that are starting to say stuff, live by something. So she's obviously trying to make a statement of live by the sword, die by the sword. This is what, and I think that this is a very revealing statement, and I think this is going to be the last comment that I'm going to look at here, is that this statement's actually extremely revealing, because what it's saying is that, from her perspective, living by the sword is the same as being killed. Speaking out and being able to,
Yeah, they think that's the same. I've seen... You know what's genuinely mind-boggling? What's genuinely brain-rotting at this point? You know what's genuinely insane? They are comparing Hitler to Charlie Kirk. They're comparing somebody who started a world war to somebody who just debated. You can't make this shit up. Not only does it make Kirk look significantly worse than he actually is, it also does the opposite for a mass murderer. What are we doing? These two are not comparable. Not even in the slightest. Not even a little bit. There's more in common, essentially, with MLK than with Hitler. How do these people come to that conclusion? What are we doing? This is not normal. But I guess the meme is right. Everyone I don't agree with is a Nazi. Everyone I don't agree with is literally Hitler at this point. What are we doing? That is also not normal. These people are like Hitler, Stalin, whatever, like Mao. They are all in a completely separate category of their own. No human currently alive is even close to those demons. And yet, people are being compared to those.
Like, express your opinion on certain things should be met with the equivalence of deadly force. And that's really what these people want. They want to bully, push, fight, and if it comes down to it, kill you if you disagree with them. And that's why whenever somebody does do something insane like this, all of these people try to do mental gymnastics about why it was somehow justified, normalized, okay, acceptable, or something one way or another. The fact is that, no, live by the debate, die by a gunshot wound in the throat. No, I don't really think that makes a lot of sense, does it? But it doesn't sound as good as these, vapid, like Yas Queen comments that people like her make on Blue Sky that have absolutely no pushback because they're on their own protected reservation away from anybody whose opinions could be different than their own. And that's the reason, and also those are the only people that are still left on the platform. And soon, if with enough effort and enough work, we can have enough of these people removed from our media, and removed from our public discourse. And
also, I've read this one, right? I've read this one currently. This fucker is also just spreading the exact false narrative, right? Looking at this, the exact false narrative, because Kirk didn't argue that for the sake of it, the Second Amendment needs to stay so people can have their guns. That's not what he argued for. He argued that if a government runs nuts for some reason, turns evil, that means that the population can defend themselves. Don't we want to look at the UK? Who can't defend themselves against politicians? Do we look at a lot of European countries who can't defend themselves? Do I think guns are the solution to this? No. But it's if like the question is increased chance for authoritarian government and no guns, or guns, and lower chance, then guns. This isn't that hard of a concept to understand. And at this point, looking at how many people get stabbed on a daily basis here in Germany, I'm questioning if that wouldn't be a solution for those fuckers too. Megatron compared Hitler to Hassan, not the entire thing, but one similar guideline. The fact both of them influenced others to kill. Yup. Not about being the one who needs to pull the trigger themselves. Very true. I mean, I've seen the compilation. This man is gross and disgusting. There's no doubt about it. And Destiny's... I don't agree with Destiny on anything. But there's one thing I agree with Destiny 100%. That Hassan is a full-on terrorist.
Removed from any sort of positions of power where they can exercise their completely maladjusted, totally deranged viewpoints and worldview. And so anyway, I want to let you know that this is definitely not the only amount of them that there are. I'm sure there's plenty more. And so if you want to express and show any of these other people and you want to post one of their comments or anything like that, I would recommend anybody to go on over to Roach Ranch. This is a comment right here. Sorry, not comment, community right here that I made on Twitter. I do not really moderate this at all. And if you guys want to post the different public comments that are being made by these different developers or these different people that are working in media celebrating this, and collectively we can...
Yeah, it's also that, by the way, if you do use TikTok, there's plenty of people who currently expose these people to their employers. So, well, this does work. This does work. You can do that on TikTok as well, by the way. There's plenty of people who have turned their entire platform into just a war type of situation. a brigade of people who find people that are celebrating this and sending it to their employer. It doesn't always work, but it does. Sometimes it does.
And contact their employers, contact the people that are around them, and have them get fired from their job. And do not, for even a second, think that this is not fair. It is absolutely fair. These people have been doing it to people like me for the better part of 5 years, and it's time the shoe goes on the other foot. They're disgusting, they're celebrating violence, and there shouldn't be any space for this in any sort of a polite society. But yeah, anyway, crazy things going on over at Sucker Punch Productions. Really, really crazy stuff. You know, with that many weirdos and freaks working at the company, I wonder what this game's going to be like. I kind of don't want to know, but I kind of do. I think it'll be great content, but for all the wrong reasons. So anyway, guys, that's about all I've got for today. I did promise I would go through all of this, and
that's pretty much it. Hi, Samax. How you doing? Hope you're doing good. Hello. You didn't even ask me how I've been. You do not like me, though. Yes, I do. Why do you do this? You're breaking my heart, Samax. I love you, like it says. Not in any other way. Looks like there's gonna be lots of job openings. Very much, Lumpy. Also, hi, how are you doing? Hope you're doing good. Very much. Yeah. Report these fuckers. Use their own weapons against them. They are arguing that freedom of speech does not equal freedom of consequences. Let's show them some consequences. Guys, let's show them some actual consequences. That's just what needs to happen. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe.